Welcome to Make America Remote Again, episode 2. I'm here with a very special guest, Mr. Thomas Guy, all the way here in Medellin, Colombia. Thomas, how are we doing today?
Amazing. Amir, thank you so much for having me.
I love it. Thomas. This has been a long time coming. I met Thomas a couple years ago, and I actually want you guys to understand something very cool here, because Thomas is doing something that is going to change not just this country, but really this entire region by bringing together entrepreneurs with networking and masterminding, and most importantly, just the best people in the world in one place. And that is so unique and so cool. And I want to find out more about how this idea started, because you've been talking about this for many years and you finally were able to put it together this past year. But before we dive into that, this podcast is brought to you by Remote Latinos. Remote Latinos is a world-class recruiting company that helps companies scale by finding the best talent in the world. We've hired over 1,000 people, and if you're watching this and you're looking to hire someone else, head over there, remotelatinos.com, link in the bio, book a call with our team and let us help you out. This podcast is also sponsored by our community in school. If you're interested in real estate, whether it's wholesaling, fix and flipping, or even Airbnbs, we have a community with nearly 1,000 people that share everything they know about real estate. We go live every single week, do a Q&A. This is absolutely free. And our ultimate goal is just to provide you guys value and connect with more real estate investors, wholesalers, fix and flippers, or really entrepreneurs that are interested in real estate. And lastly, this podcast is sponsored by Creator Fest. Creator Fest is the greatest event for entrepreneurs and content creators. It is the first time in history that content creators get to learn from entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs get to learn from content creators. This event is in Orlando, August 15th through the 18th. It is put together by my dear friend, Iconic Becker. And if you're looking to elevate your content game or elevate your business, you need to be there. I have a link in the bio where you can get $50 off your ticket. So sign up now and I'll see you there. And now let's get back to the podcast. Thomas, what is the elevator pitch about who Thomas is? How did you end up here in Medellin, Colombia?
Yeah, well, great introduction. I appreciate that very much. As far as how I ended up in Medellin, Colombia, it was actually through another mastermind that I was part of. It's called Scaling with Systems with Ravi Avagal. I'm not sure. Maybe you've heard of it. Mm-hmm. But I was in their initiative program about 3 years ago, and they did a private event here in Medellin. Okay. And so that's what actually originally brought me here, which unfolded in a bunch of different events after that. I stayed for 3 months. Like most people, when they first come here, they realize how amazing it is in Medellin, Colombia. So I stayed for 3 months, traveled for 6 more months in different countries all around the world, mostly in Europe. And near the end of that journey, what happened was I just became very isolated, because I was living this digital nomad lifestyle where I'd be in this country for 2 weeks and in this country for 3 weeks and this country and this city. So it was never really building connections with people, at least deeply, because I was always on the move. And I remember I was in actually Turkey at the time, and it was 3 a.m. at night. I just got off the call with my then business partner. And I was just, in that moment, I was just so depressed because I felt so lonely. I was literally journaling. I remember I was writing in my journal, why do I feel so lonely? And there's tears hitting my journal as I was writing that. Mm-hmm. And then that's when I realized it's community. I need community. And so I came back here and I just had that intention. I want to be in a community. It wasn't even build a community. It was just be part of a community of like-minded, successful entrepreneurs like myself. And through that almost 3 years now, just started doing private events, private dinners, meeting people like you bringing friends, other people bringing friends. And before I knew it, we did a dinner last year that had 35 different business owners. And that's when it really hit me, this is becoming something much bigger than what I ever imagined. So
yeah, that's super cool, man, because I think so many people are in coaching programs, are in different masterminds, but they very lackluster. They never really travel. It's always in the US. Everybody is entrepreneurship is already a lonely game. Mm-hmm. And if you're always lonely, that's not what humanity is about. We're all about communities ever since, for our entire lifetime. So I think it's very important. I think you brought you had the dinner and then you thought to yourself, I think I can do more from this. So where did the idea come from, the dinners, to actually making this a real business and actually bringing together people?
Well, it really evolved over time because I've done a lot of dinners and events, and all of them lost money. Actually, like I think you were at one of the very first ones in that
I
penthouse,
remember.
and I didn't charge anyone for anything. I think I spent $3,000 or $4,000 on that. I didn't even think like it wasn't even an intention to make money in the
Yeah.
first place. It was just like I want to do something awesome
Yeah,
with
yeah,
people, right?
yeah.
And so I was doing that for free, and then I realized why this isn't sustainable. I have to like people have to be, paying me if
Yeah.
they're if especially for providing a great service. So it just evolved over time, and what really changed is when I started hosting people in Medellin, we call the Entrepreneur House. So people would live in a house, and I provide this service where we do events and network. And what happened was it was actually this year in January where someone came and he was living in Bali for the past 2 years. He's been a digital nomad for 10 years now. And he's living in Bali for the past 2 years, moved here, part of the Entrepreneur House. And he told me, he said, Thomas, in the 2 weeks I've been here in Medellin, I've met not only more people, more high level people than I did the whole 2 years I was in Bali. And that's when it hit me. I was like, holy shit, I guess I do know a lot of people. Like I didn't even realize it just like kind of it just happened over the past almost 3 years that my network's grown here
Yeah.
and internationally. And doing the events and having the Entrepreneur House like attracted a lot of people. And it just was like a huge realization that like, holy crap, I guess I am like a super connector almost that is the term that he coined, right? So it was from that, and then I did the event in December that made like $200. So I was like, holy crap, I can make some money from
100%.
the events, and then what happened is I met this guy Ben, super connected, super brilliant guy. He's has over 20 businesses, exited multiple of them, like very successful. He's like, hey Thomas, he's at one of my events. He's very like interesting guy, very cool though. I don't know if you know him.
I think I know the name.
Ben Weir.
Yeah, I've met him.
know him.
I've seen him. I don't know him. It's funny because we run the same circles, but I don't know him.
Anyways, he's awesome, and I love you, Ben, if you're watching this. But he pulled me aside at an event. And he's like, so like, what are you doing? Like, what's your plan with this whole like community? And he's like, I have this idea. Like, you should talk to people and ask them like, so what's your number one problem? And I know this guy Mitch, and he helps people create businesses. I'm sure you know a lot of people that want to create a business, right?
Of course.
And so I just talked to a bunch of people. We put an event together. There's like 8 of us. It took me like 2 hours to do because I just like texted
Yeah,
people.
to put it together.
And at that event, we did $80,000.
Wow.
And I didn't make money on the tickets, but what I learned is that you can make money from having a service offered at the event for the speaker. And that's when I was like, holy crap, I can actually make this like an actual business. And that's when I started looking more into the mastermind business model, which is like a membership. Then they do events where at those events, they also charge people to go. And then also they have speakers and they have referral partners. They'll do deals. They'll raise funds.
Yeah.
They have people offering service. So that's how it evolved over time. But it was literally through my network telling me, giving me feedback and ideas.
Yeah.
And just implementing and trying them out.
Yeah.
So
I love when businesses are not created intentionally and they happen by accident, because that's how I started my recruiting company. It was a completely on accident. I think I believe that some of the greatest mysteries solved in the whole world, were by accident. It was like some, like, oh my God, it's raining, and then like you go under a cave and you're like, oh, roof, what? Maybe we could build this. Like
Sure.
Things like that, where it's like when you create a business without the intention of making money in the beginning, it shows that you truly have you're doing it for the right reasons. You're putting people together. And when I came here back in 2020, I started the first entrepreneur group because I was just like you. I felt lonely. I was like, okay, it's cool, you hang out with girls, but like if you don't have a long-term relationship and you're one day with this girl and then it's like you're not really building something real, you get even more lonely because it's like you feel more empty. And I started going to dinners. I invited a few friends, and then they invited 10 people. Now that group is at 1,000+ people, right?
Yeah.
But I realized that this is a job. Running that group is a job. That is a business. And unfortunately, at that time, I was doing sales, and I was also running my business. Now I have a business. Once you have a business, especially in the beginning part, you don't want to focus on another business. You want to go all in on your first business, right?
Yeah.
So when you came up with the idea and the concept, I was like, this is perfect because there's already so many people here. Medellin is so close to the US, Miami, so many people fly here from Miami. There's so much beautiful things going on in Medellin outside of the beautiful city that it is, right? People come here on the regular basis just to visit. So putting people together of high level and making them aware of each other in the easiest way possible, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So after you did the dinner, and then after you talked to Ben and Mitch, and you kind of, you know, put together the plan, and you did the $80,000 event, was your next step like, okay, I want to build a community around this? Like, what was the next steps after that?
Yeah, so after I was still doing the entrepreneur house. It's still an entrepreneur house, but I was actually doing the co-living part of the business, which was kind of working. Like, I think I made like 7 or 8 grand from the last one profit from that after everything. But it was like, it's a whole month. There's so much planning. It's so much convincing to get someone to stay in a month versus come to an event. Like, it's just different. And so I realized, like, okay, well, the 80-20 here obviously is like doing events, because if I made like 5-10 times as much, and I barely put any compared to the amount of time that I put into the house.
Right.
So that's when I changed the model to, okay, now it's events. So I was like, all right, well, also I don't want to do an event where it's like we're just selling every event, like, because I have to do an event to make money.
Yes.
And it feels like this. It still feels like I'm chasing like a rat race, almost like I got to do another event to make my next money. And if it doesn't do well, and I also don't want to, like, so it's a lot. So I was like, okay. And then we actually did another event, funny enough, with this girl who flew out, and super high level. Like, she works with some super successful people, including Richard Branson and Perry Marshall, like mindset stuff. We did an event with her. And one of the things I love about doing events, by the way, is that I'm also like attending the event. Like, so I'm getting the value that everyone else is as the host. So while that event was happening, she's talking a lot about core values, and how core values, the way that most people think of core values isn't the way that she likes to. And most people, if I asked you what's your core values, you'd be like, oh, integrity, you know, be honest, be on time. But those aren't your core values, according to what she's saying. Your core values are things that energize you. They unlock more energy from you. And so what I thought one of my core values, based on what she was saying, is it was connection. There's something that I do naturally. I feel that I can do it very well. But for me, I'm an introvert. So like, connection doesn't give me more energy. Like, I'm going to parties and events, like, I need time to recharge after. And by her definition, it should give me more energy. And she's like, Thomas, your core value isn't connection, it's intimacy. And there's a difference. And so I was like, wow, that's true. And I'm like, you know what? And a few other things she said at the event, and it just gave me this idea, like, what if I do a membership and I make it like an exclusive club, and I make it like, minimum requirement, you need to do X amount in your business. And so these ideas just started coming from that event that we had. And then that's when I transitioned the community into a paid community, which is honestly a really good thing. Like, some people don't want to pay, and that's good, because now the people who do are serious. You know, it's a higher caliber of people. So when you walk into a room, you know, like, everyone in this room is like qualified, verified, and it's just you can start having conversations at a high level, and it's good for the business, because now I don't have to do an event every single day or week to make money. You know, there's at least something there that's recurring that can sustain the business and help it grow. So that's the evolution of like how I got the ideas. Literally, again, from my network and like meeting and going to these events, just different ideas started coming in.
Plus, probably being in different masterminds and events, you were at with Scaling Systems with Ravi, so I'm sure that, you know, there's part of that came. Some of these ideas came from that as well. So obviously, we're here in Medellin, and there's a lot of entrepreneurs here. Is the vision to expand past just Medellin? On what would be the next city or country you want to go for?
Absolutely. So right now it is in Medellin. We have just about 60 members as of right now.
Nice.
It's for people who earn over $1 million in their business. And yeah, the goal is to expand, but right now it's only 2 months new. So I want to really focus in Medellin for at least another year is the vision. So just dialing in, growing the group here, really refining, getting really great speakers, really great people in the room. And then we will expand, right? And whether that's Bogota first, if we're going to do it there, or have them fly to Medellin, or if not, it's probably going to be Mexico City is the plan right now.
So it's potentially another place in Colombia or outside of Colombia.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's going to be international. The long-term 10-year vision is to have something in all the digital nomad hubs of the world. Yeah. So
I would highly suggest going after Bogota.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time there. I already have some connections there. And one of the things that I found from Bogota is that, we have a lot of team members there. So not only will you be able to get high level businesses, in the future, you can also start getting like high level, like locals there. Because I think speaking with, our mutual friend, Steve, he was saying that the one thing that one of these events need is not only high level entrepreneurs, but if you can find high level local people that run businesses here in Colombia that are bar owners, club owners, restaurant owners, maybe not doing maybe millions of dollars, but at least they're very connected into the city. I think that's a huge benefit.
Yeah.
It's actually very interesting, man, because this is a little bit random, but I was on YouTube the other day, and they recommend you YouTube algorithm is insane. Then it knows me so well, right?
I know yours is insane.
No, mine's is absolutely crazy. But I was kind of scrolling through it, and I saw two people that I actually did a podcast. One of them I did a podcast with. Used to be called Colombia Podcast. Shout out to Andrew Macia. But him and AK Joel, I don't know if you know them. They have YouTube channels about Medellin. Like they literally, their entire YouTube is like, is Medellin safe? Best places for date. And I'm like, and then you think, okay, I mean, that's cool. But dude, every video gets like 10, 20, 30,000 views. So I'm like, wow. So I'm assuming a lot of these people are probably wanting to get into Medellin, like the ones that are watching them. So what I'm telling you is I think one of the cool things to do is outside of having a powerful network of entrepreneurs, because I do think that needs to be the core. I think having like high level locals that can share with people like the best places to go to. Because a lot of us, we live in Medellin, but like we're in the bubble. Like we're in the ultimate bubble here in Poblado. Like we never really explore outside of Poblado. We're kind of just like in a midst. And I think it would be cool to not only talk to other business owners, because I think that is important and that needs to be the core, but also like how can you incorporate high level locals here? I'm not talking about people that don't speak English or like they work at a bar, but like no offense to those people, but people that own the bars and they own the clubs. I think that'd be a great idea. But if I was an advisor for you, I think that Bogota should be 100% the next spot. Just being there and just finding out the people and me having a team there. I'm like, it's a pretty damn good spot. I don't know. Have you been to Bogota?
I'm going next week.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's super cool. I'll recommend you some spots I went to that are pretty sick. And there are, believe it or not, there's actually much more money there than here because it is the capital. So a lot of the businesses actually operate from Bogota. Their education there is higher than Medellin. Medellin is catching up; it's getting there, but Bogota is the capital, right?
Yeah.
So once you start expanding the vision to have hubs all around the world about all the digital nomads, about like you talked about this a little bit, but just break this down to us. Like, what is the vision for the communities?
Yeah. So the community vision is going to be having chapter locations in every area that is a hotspot, specifically for digital nomads. So you think Medellin, obviously, Mexico City. You can think some places in maybe Argentina or Brazil, Europe,
Bali.
Of course, Bali, yeah, of course, Thailand, Dubai. And then eventually as well as places like Austin and Miami and different places that a lot of people frequently travel.
Yeah.
So that way they can be just like someone that I was 3-4 years ago, traveling to all these places, a nomad, but have a community. So I don't feel lonely. Right. So you can instantly get plugged in. You can have all the recommendations of these are the best places to go. These are the things to do, and have a group to do it with too, to go out and have dinner with, or whatever it is, going on a hike or whatever kind of
partying. He wants to say party, but he's like party as well. You want to party with people?
I mean, if you meet people at the group, you can party, but obviously the group isn't focused around
100%.
It's funny though. I had a conversation last week with this girl, and she's local here, and she has a massive company. Like and like I'm talking like Central Latin America, like very big. Like I don't know how big, but it's fucking huge.
Yeah.
And she was asking me like, so like, are these events? Are they gonna be events where there's a bunch of hookers and drugs and like? Is it that kind of event? Like she actually thought it was that kind of event, even after seeing the videos of the events, which show none of that. But it's just a stereotype here, and that's not the first person who asked me that.
Of course,
and
because
so
it's when people with the first events that were ever thrown here were events that included 2C and hookers and all that crazy shit.
And there's nothing wrong. Like if you're into that, sure, great. But the group itself is not focused around.
No, not at all.
Doing that type of stuff. You meet people there in the group, and you want to go do it outside of the event. Great.
God bless. Yeah. I think going back to one of the things you said, I think one of the biggest reasons that people don't travel is because the fear of not knowing anyone, especially when you travel solo. Right? If you have a partner, your wife, you can travel anywhere in the world. But traveling solo, I think the number one reason people don't do it is because they don't want to. They don't want to connect with anybody. They don't go to hostel. I don't want to stay at hostels when I'm traveling. I want to get my own Airbnb in space or whatever. So I think having like a community of people where you can actually make that happen It's a no-brainer,
Yeah.
right? So what do you think? What do you think people? What do you think is going to be the hardest thing to explain to people about what you're trying to do in terms of like getting them more involved in this type of community? Because I do think a lot of people come to Medellin to party. They come to meet girls. They come to meet their next wife. You know, just having fun. How do you change your mindset? How do you find the people that you do want to be around and you do want to build a community with? And like, and then that's the first part. And the second part is like, how do you explain to people that this is not the normal event? This is not just your regular mastermind.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, really the best way to find out is to be at an event, obviously, because you'll meet the people there. You'll meet people who are connected that are doing real big things in the city or internationally or whatever it is. But to explain it to someone, I mean, the best way that I could probably explain it to someone who's thinking about joining an event or coming to something like this is Medellin is a growing market. You know, it's I think 3 or 5 years ago it was like 500,000 tourists visiting a year. Now it's 2 million. And that number is going to keep increasing.
Right.
And so there's a lot of people. I just had a conversation with someone who's really connected real estate wise. And he's like, yeah, I'm looking to invest, but there's no information. Like I can't even people who own properties here, they don't even know what the tax rate is when they sell. Or like, how do you even buy a property or find a property or like what's foreclosure? So he's looking for information and people to learn that are doing it in the city. And in a place like Medellin or any other foreign country, it's not, the infrastructure is not the same. Like you can pull up an MLS or you can just like get online and start talking to a bunch of people who aren't going to scam you, right? So getting connected to the right people in a city to do business is extremely important.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to invest in real estate or do business down here.
Especially in a foreign country.
Especially in a foreign country.
Yeah, you don't speak the language.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the right contacts are everything, and the right contacts are at these events. So if you want to learn the things that you need to know and connect with the right people, you have to come to these events or meet them some other way. But there really hasn't been anything until recently, right? So it's like, how do I meet people that are doing stuff? It's like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Come to these, like it sounds super salesy, but
it is what it is.
you come to an event and you meet these people.
Right. Have you got a lot of flack? So like what I would be thinking is this has to be some sort of network marketing MLM type of thing. Because I just come to the event, that's how I got sold into MLM, funny enough.
Yeah.
Have you gotten pushback on anybody thinking that's an MLM or you're selling a specific product or service?
Well, Stripe suspended my account because I thought that was MLM.
Really?
Yes.
They don't let them.
But they reversed it because they don't allow multi-level whatever it's called, MLMs. So the only person is Stripe, and it was because I think they had me send like some message, and I was like, yeah, it's an invite only referral, and they're like, oh, it's an MLM. So they shut my account, but then I proved it wasn't.
Yeah.
And so they unsuspended, which I was like, oh crap, this is gonna. Yeah. Stripe is notorious for doing that type of thing. Yeah. So no, other than Stripe, I mean, look, the community is literally like we've already talked about this. It formed through the intention of aligning myself with other like-minded, upbeat, successful people, because there's nothing more exciting than mingling with other top achievers. 100%. I mean, like, there's really, if you ask people what they really want, it's usually only like 1 or 2, maybe 3 things. It's like they want to have enough money so they don't have to worry about it, right? And they want to be around other like-minded people. Like, top performers do not like being around other people who are slacking. Like, 100%. Whether that's on your team, this is really important because you know this. When you hire people, like the top performers, if there's like 2 or 3 bad apples, even one bad apple, it's gonna suck the energy from 100%. Them. So being in a room where everyone's a top performer is just like it's just so inspiring. You know, having conversations, mixing with different minds. Like, all of my business success has literally come from going to events, whether that's my events or other people's events, because I meet new people, they share new ideas, we talk. Like, there's just so much energy happening, and one connection can be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Show me your circle, I'll tell you your future. You know? Show me your circle, I'll tell you where you're at right now too. So I love it, man. So what about the flip side, right? So what about how you guys vet people? Because I think it is important to make sure that, you know, I don't care about how much money someone makes. It's cool. That's important, but that's not something I only care about. Because if you're not a good person, that's, for me, number one. It's your attitude, your humility, your humbleness, right? I don't need you to be Mr. Humble over here, Mr. Jesus, but I don't need you to tell me how big your dick is and how much money you make. Like, I don't care about that. I also care about people that make a lot of money. I also want to make sure that they are part of charities and foundations, or where do they invest their money and where do they give back their money,
Yeah.
right? So, send that side. How do we know? How does someone know that you are doing the vetting and there's not scammers or people that are gonna take, raise capital and then just run away?
Yeah, yeah, no, great question. So I actually had to learn this the hard way, fortunately.
Yeah.
But what we're doing now is first is people are coming through. Most of the people are referrals, right? So that's a great vetting process in and of itself. I can ask about how they know each other, how they met. So if I'm getting people referred by multiple people, and they're saying good things, that's usually a good sign. But beyond that, people who are coming in outside, maybe they come through social media, or even if they do come through a referral, we're still having a conversation over the phone. And that conversation is just explaining this is what the group's about, getting to understand what their intention is coming, right? If their intention is, look, I'm here to sell and like give everyone my business card, it's not a good fit off the bat. So if I get a good vibe from the phone call, we then invite them to an event. And this event is almost like a trial period where they can meet me, I can meet them, the community can also meet them and talk to them in person, right? And then if after that event we think that it's a good fit, meaning myself and the community that wants to be part of it, we then ask them to verify, of course, P&L, bank statement, or tax return with their financials. And we just tell them, look, this community, like I emphasize this incredibly a lot with every phone call I have at the events themselves. If they're joining the community, I tell them like this is a community that's focused on serving and giving, and it's not about coming and seeing what you can take from it, it's about what you can give, right? And there's no bulletproof method to vet someone on their character, but we do everything we can from meeting them in person, having people make sure that it's a good fit for the community, their financial documentation to make sure that's all aligned, and yeah, just it's a lot off of energy. You can usually tell if someone's like giving you bad energy. I know that sounds kind of esoteric, but that's what we're doing right now. So
this podcast is brought to you by Remote Latinos. Remote Latinos is a world-class recruiting company that helps companies scale by finding the best talent in the world. We've hired over 1,000 people, and if you're watching this and you're looking to hire someone else, head over there, remotelatinos.com, link in the bio, book a call with our team and let us help you out. This podcast is also sponsored by our community in school. If you're interested in real estate, whether it's wholesaling, fix and flipping, or even Airbnbs, we have a community with nearly 1,000 people that share everything they know about real estate. We go live every single week, do a Q&A. This is absolutely free. And our ultimate goal is just to provide you guys value and connect with more real estate investors, wholesalers, fix and flippers, or really entrepreneurs that are interested in real estate. And lastly, this podcast is sponsored by Creator Fest. Creator Fest is the greatest event for entrepreneurs and content creators. It is the first time in history that content creators get to learn from entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs get to learn from content creators. This event is in Orlando, August 15th through the 18th. It is put together by my dear friend, Iconic Becker. And if you're looking to elevate your content game or elevate your business, you need to be there. I have a link in the bio where you can get $50 off your ticket. So sign up now and I'll see you there. And now let's get back to the podcast.
Yeah, like I think it's important to talk about like finding out the hard way. We don't have to get into the super specifics, but like two things. One, how do you make sure something like that doesn't happen again? But first, like, what was that experience and if someone is wanting to build a community, right? I'm sure you have people in your group that want to build a community. Yeah. How do they avoid this type of thing?
Yeah. So first thing is, especially the two most people that you have to vet the most and do diligence on are the people who are your speakers, anyone speaking at any of your events, and anyone who's looking to do any raising of funds or selling anything or promoting or doing deals. You have to do the due diligence, because if they come into your group and they're looking to raise capital, if you have a successful room, like it's probably going to happen, especially if they're convincing and good at sales and like,
maybe it sounds like a good.
It sounds good. Yeah. So the first thing is, just for anyone listening, like, do your due diligence yourself. Like, no matter if you're already in a group that's been vetted for you, no matter what, if you just met the person, you don't know much about the investment, like, do your due diligence on it. And if you don't know how, talk to people who can do that for you. You can just don't invest into anything that you just met someone at an event, So that's the most important thing is the speakers. Make sure you're vetting them. Make sure you're talking to referrals, contacts, references. Ask them about past events they've spoken to, other groups they've worked with, and then anyone who's doing deals, ask for their 3 years tax returns. Ask for if they're gonna do any deals in your group, they're gonna raise any money. Look at their financials. Ask them for proof. That alone will scare a lot of the scammers away.
Tax returns.
Yeah, tax returns. I'm not doing that,
Yeah.
right? So, but if they're serious, they'll be upfront with you and they'll share those details with you.
Yeah.
And do your due diligence. Like talk to them, meet with them, look at their projects, talk to other investors that are in their projects or in their deals or programs or whatever it is. So that's the most important. Those two. And then obviously the people in the group, like if they're not trying to raise deals, if they're not doing or speaking at your event, it's very unlikely they're going to be scammy people. But you still need to vet everyone in the group.
100%.
So
Because you never know.
yeah, and that's what I would say. And then as far as like your second question, my experience, basically we had someone come in and we had this guy speak at an event. I didn't even know he was going to make an offer. Actually, funny enough, he didn't tell me, but he ended up doing it. And basically, what happened was he spoke at the event. It was great value, by the way. Like he shared a lot of really good things. And then he made an offer, and like 4 people signed up with him. And long story short, basically the people who signed up didn't get the end result, or not the end result, but didn't even get what he promised. Basically, they maybe got like 20% of it or 30% of it, and just started ghosting them. He didn't respond.
Very scam-like.
Yeah, so basically took their money, delivered like the bare minimum at first, and then disappeared. And so that's what happened. And unfortunate enough, it wasn't like hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars like I've heard some stories.
Either way.
But it was still, obviously that reputation is on me because I let that person in, especially as a speaker. And so I learned the hard way.
Yeah. So for the people that are watching that don't live in Medellin, or the people that do live in Medellin and they're interested about the people that are in your group and the business owners, and like I said, a lot of the people, they don't want to just be around high income people. That's part of it, but around good business owners, they have charities here. Or if I want to get involved in real estate, whether it's here in the US or other places or other industries, who are some people that are in the group that you would highly recommend working with or even getting to know?
Yeah. So first person I would say is Robert Shaman. Shaman has a couple of different charities here in Medellin. He's a great contact for real estate and doing charity work. So he's a really good guy to know. Great, well-connected person. As far as real estate, the first person that comes to mind is Rick Wan. Rick has a few properties here, very high-end luxury. He's really well-connected in the real estate space. Has been investing here. I think he's been here almost a decade. And then Raj for funding, also in real estate. He's verified, vetted. I've done due diligence, and I've spoken to people who know him, and he's a really good guy to know. And then if you want the best chicken here, deep fried chicken, there's a spot in Provenza called D-Bach. Shout out to Steve. Probably the best chicken in Medellin. And then if you're looking for if you're coming to Medellin and you need a service of like pick up at the airport, contacts for properties, maybe you need tours or whatever it is, Juan Chavez with VIP Medellin, definitely the best concierge service I've ever worked with. It's really hard to find good services here. Yeah. And he also has another half a dozen companies, but the VIP Medellin is great contacts for tourism and those type of things. So cool. Those would be the first couple of people that come.
I love it. Those I know a couple of them, and they're definitely great guys. So looking at where the community world is headed, right? Because what you're doing, it's already been done, right? In the sense of This is not the first community in the world. It's not the first school community. It's not the first mastermind. What do you think makes your group and your community different? Because I actually know, I think 1 or 2 other people that are trying to do something similar to having community here. Not party exclusive, high-level entrepreneurs, doing dinners and breakfasts and also hosting events and all that stuff. Like, what do you think makes Entrepreneur House and what you're trying to do different than all these other ones?
Yeah. Well, the first thing as far as being in a location like Medellin, so obviously it's geared towards the people who are into traveling around in these digital nomad hubs. So obviously that's the biggest thing is it's in a foreign country. It's not the U.S. There's not as many groups out here. Yes, we do have the minimum requirements. So, you have to be doing over 7 figures. So, of course, that creates a certain group of people. But beyond that, like how the group came to fruition is really focused on the community and the impact. Like this isn't a group that is just about how to get better at Amazon or we do education, but the focus is really on the community and the experience part of it, right? So for anyone who's part of the community or is going to be part of the community in the future, when you're in these rooms and you're part of these events, it's not just like you're going to be at a seminar and there's going to be 20 speakers and you're going to learn a bunch, take a bunch of notes. Some of the events we do have speakers, absolutely, but it's also about having amazing experiences with amazing people that are already curated for you. So I think the experience aspect, obviously the aspect of being in a foreign country makes everything very unique. And then the requirements of people as far as like their business and things. I think those are the three biggest things that make this different than a lot of the groups that you might find in the U.S. or wherever else.
Yeah, I like it. I like that. I like the fact that you want to be able to do this for nomads, because a lot of people's perception of nomads are backpackers. They're people that just put a backpack on and just walk. And I always thought to myself, you can only do backpacking if you've already made a lot of money or somehow you're just living off your savings, because building a business in backpacking is pretty hard. And I'm not saying it's impossible.
Yeah.
It's possible, but it's even harder when you don't have a community. And when you go to these countries and I probably haven't been to a lot of the world because I travel alone most of the time, and traveling solo and then having to restart everything that I did here in Medellin, it's a lot of time and energy.
Yeah.
But if I go there and there's already a community that's plugged in and people that are running businesses, maybe we've already chatted online and we meet in person, it's almost like we've already built rapport. It's already like, I already know you. Yeah. So it makes everything so much easier. So I really, that's why I'm a huge supportive of this. And I think it's important for someone to do this. I had that idea 4 years ago, but I was like, dude, I can't run this and also content and also, so it's like, it's a lot of shit.
Yeah. And to add to that, like really the value proposition is you're meeting globally minded entrepreneurs and international. So if you're looking, especially your business in foreign countries or globally, the network here is incredible because these people are, they're in Asia, they're in Europe, they're in Dubai, they're in South America, Central America doing business, and they're connected with these people, and specific to Medellin and the other locations that we're expanding to, like there's not a lot of groups that can tell you how to get money in and out of Colombia tax free and how to invest in properties here and like
legally.
So legally, of course, everything's legal here. Of course.
Yeah, just want to make sure.
But that's the value proposition is like, it's an international, globally minded group, and the contacts that you make here are, they're all around the globe. So
I love that. So one of the things that impresses me the most about you, Thomas, and I think probably most people that meet you, is that you're super young, 24.
Yeah.
Which is insane because when talking to you doesn't feel like that. You feel a lot more. I feel like not only because you're introverted, but because you probably have gotten this. You feel like an old soul. You're not the typical 24-year-old that is just like building a business. You've already built the businesses, the exit, running a group. Everybody that you're around is much older than you. So it's like you're in a unique position, right? I think one of the things that I found most interesting about you, and this could be off the record, we can, do you want to not talk about this, but I think one of the most interesting things that I found out about you was your experience with ayahuasca. Was it ayahuasca that you did or mushrooms?
Both.
You've done you've done both, and you can. If you want to cut this, let me know.
It's okay.
Because that's something I want to do next year for my 30th birthday, and I think it's very fascinating because there are a lot of people that see it as helpful, and there's a lot of people that kind of see it as a distraction, and it's like, oh, it's just like it's a period of your time that you might change, but then you're going to be the same old you, blah blah blah. But I'm always curious from people like you, because you did it. I mean, you're young, so you did it at a young age. You've been relatively successful. You have now created an amazing community and all that stuff. Like, obviously this was before. What made you even want to do ayahuasca in the first place, and what did you find out through that retreat?
Well, specific to the ayahuasca, when I came to Medellin, I've been listening to Joe Rogan, and I've heard different podcasts. Maybe it wasn't Joe Rogan, but other places. Like I've heard of ayahuasca. Like I've heard it a couple of times, so it wasn't completely foreign to me.
Yeah.
And I was in a group in WhatsApp, and I saw like, oh, ayahuasca retreat, and I was literally on my way here. And I was like, I messaged the dude. I'm like, I'm interested. I didn't know anything about it besides like, it's a plant medicine and it, like, it's for introspection and like, that's pretty much it. Like, I had no idea you drink it at like 11 p.m. and you stay up all night vomiting and all this other shit that goes with doing ayahuasca. Like I had no idea, so I just signed up for it because I wanted to try. I have experience with mushrooms quite a bit. I've done a lot of mushrooms, and I promote mushrooms a lot. I love mushrooms.
Yeah, I love it.
Like I do, I've done microdoses, but a lot of it is doing like a macro dose.
Yeah.
Actually, the first time I did mushrooms was 18, and I did like 7 grams first time in my apartment with my friends.
So insane. That's so insane. Because the first time was for me was 3.5, and that was a lot.
Yeah.
7
I mean,
is
so what
insane.
happened was I didn't know that it was like gonna take a while.
Yeah.
And so we ate them and we're like, I don't feel it. Like, and so we just kept eating them.
Yeah.
And yeah, it hit me very strong. But I've had amazing experiences like introspection out in the woods in a cabin by myself, and also a couple of times with like a small group of friends. But specific to the ayahuasca, like I went there. I've done it 4 times now, and I don't want to do it anymore. At least not right now. And when I first went there, like my intention was a deeper self-love for myself. So I always felt like I had a lot of growth to do in loving myself and actually like accepting who I am as a person. And I feel like a lot of people have that as well. And so that was my intention going in. But what happened was I didn't actually throw up or any. Oh, actually, I did when they did the rapé, when they blow up your nose. So I vomited from that, but I didn't throw up from the ayahuasca or anything. But what happened was the thoughts that were like in the back of my head that like I kind of try to forget about and like avoid, like although you know you should confront these things or like deal with them, they were like right here in my face. Like those thoughts were right here the whole experience. Like I could not get rid of them, and so I had to confront those things. And so that was super helpful in that sense. You know, it's a lot about integrating. If you just go there and then you just continue on your life. Same with an event. If you go to an event, then you just continue on like normal, then what was the point, right?
Yeah.
So it was integrating that, and I felt like there was still more to come from it, so I did a few more. The last one that I did, I got the message that why am I here? Like I don't need to be here to get to where I want to go. Like I don't need to be throwing up all night and with all these people and listening to people vomit. Like I just didn't need to be there at that time, and I can get there other ways through meditation and whatever else. So that was the message that I got doing ayahuasca. And also for me, my
That's
experience.
interesting. Wait. So you did it, then you were like, I don't need to be here.
Yeah, the
to-
last time. The
So
last
was
time.
that like a bad trip almost? Like
No,
or-
it wasn't bad at all. So also for me, my experience, I had no hallucination. I didn't see any visions. There was
Wow.
nothing.
That's great. That's
Right.
really crazy.
Nothing at all. And the last 2 times I didn't throw up or anything either.
Wow.
So I should have drank more cups, but I was at the retreat and I just felt like, oh, I don't need to drink more. I don't need to be here. I just want to leave. And that was kind of what I got from ayahuasca. Like I already gave you everything you need. Just need to do it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. How many
So-
times have you done it total?
4.
Okay. Wow.
4 times. First 2 times were one night, and then the last time was 2 nights, like in a row.
Yeah.
So that's like what I got from the ayahuasca, and it was valuable for anyone you have to seek it out. Like if you're not feeling it, then don't force yourself to do it. And I feel like the last 2 times I did it because I went with a friend. He more so wanted to do it, so I was just kind of there. So that was also part
It's
of
one of those. It's the one thing that you don't want to be emotionally involved in if you're not wanting to be there. It's
Yeah.
like you have to be all in. It's not like going to Six Flags and riding a roller coaster and you can kind of stand on the side.
Yeah.
It's like you have to ride the roller coaster. Like
Yeah.
you're not like
you have to be.
you have to be. That's interesting, man. I think it's really cool because meeting you a little over 2 years ago now. You seem very zen. You seem very like you know who you are, and it's very cool because most people don't know who they are, and then that's first thing. And most young people don't know who they are. So you feel like talking to you, it seems like even when I met you, when you didn't really know what you were gonna do, because it seems like you're just exiting the business. I didn't at one point think this guy's lost. Like not one time. Like this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Da, da, da. I just felt like even if you don't know what you're doing right now, you're gonna figure it out. Like then it felt like everything that has happened to you in your life has been like a domino effect to where
Yeah.
you are today.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely has.
That's kind of cool because that's what I feel like. I believe just doing mushrooms and psychedelics, you get that connection because it is the thoughts that you don't want to confront, the fears that you don't want to confront, the trauma that you have because like that's a lot of stuff that came to me when I was all the trauma shit that I had to go through as a kid, and I really believe that the world would be a better place if most people drank more ayahuasca.
Yeah.
So that's cool, man. So I like the advice as well. So. As we wrap this up, what are your thoughts about the future of the remote world? It's a little bit of a different question, but we're
Yeah.
Make America Remote again over here. You work remote, you
Yeah.
travel. You've been working remote for many years now, right?
Yeah, 4 years.
4 years. What are your thoughts of where the world is headed when it comes to the remote world and AI and technology and just overall the business, international business space?
Yeah, well, I think it's definitely the future for sure. Like people are becoming more aware that they can travel and they can experience life in different places while still making money online. And funny enough, one of our 3 requirements, so I talked about you have to be a business owner, right? So you have to be CEO, president on the board, co-founder, founder. You have to have the revenue. The third requirement we have, the only requirement is you have to have either it's a team that's fully remote or you're able to work remotely. And I put that requirement because again, I'm looking for digital nomad people in the community, right?
Yeah.
And I believe that that is a huge feature. There's so many people that are growing up and seeing all these people like ourselves be able to enjoy life in a beautiful country like Colombia and be able to take advantage of all the benefits being over here, and they're realizing it's actually not as dangerous as as a lot of people think. So I believe that 100% it's the future. People are going to be working remote more and more and more and more. You can manage a team effectively remote. There's a lot of tools that are being invented every day, software, technology. And that's what people want because it gives them the flexibility to travel, which is a huge demand. So it's actually a benefit. You can work remotely is like almost a benefit you can give your employees.
100%.
So,
Like we've literally poached talent on a regular basis, of people that are getting paid pretty well, but because we give them the benefit of working remote, we can sign them off at a lower or equal salary, and then eventually they can move up to a higher salary. But just because they work remote, you save money on gas, on food that you have to eat out a lot of times, and all that other stuff. So it is a benefit, but I think at one point it's going to be a requirement. That's what I truly believe, because every single day a new business is starting, and those businesses are not brick and mortar businesses. They're not just mom and pop shops. They are online businesses. They're e-commerce businesses. They're agencies. They are coaching businesses. And I think that those businesses, because of technology, because of software, because of the way the world is structured and the way the world is headed, they're going to be remote. And we're only really getting started with this. Like you and I have been doing this for many years, but it's still very, very new. Like the internet's only 30 years old. You know what I mean? A little bit over 30 years old. So it's like we're still figuring a lot of the things out. So it's an interesting perspective, and I love the fact that you do put people that's a requirement for you guys, because I'm sure you've had business owners come here, but they're not remote. They're here on vacation. Maybe they live here part time, but all their businesses in Seattle, and they have to be there. So they're limited, and then now they don't get to reap the rewards of location freedom. And I think that's a big L, right?
Yeah, and if you don't have a business where you can travel anywhere you want, then is that really why you got into entrepreneurship?
That's
to have real freedom, not just financial freedom, but also location freedom. So
I'm a believer, Thomas, that you unlock location freedom before you unlock financial freedom in today's day and age. I think before you get financial and then you get location, but today you can unlock location freedom first, and then you can go financial freedom, right?
100%.
And I really believe that so many people are going to find out that financial freedom is not nearly as important to them as location freedom because of the stress that they're going to endure. More money, more problems. That's a reality. Like you make more money, you have many more people after you. You have much bigger team. It's like very hard to grow your revenue and just be hidden. However, location freedom, you can work anywhere in the world. It's not stressful. You just find an Airbnb, has good internet, you're good. So to me, that is the future, like you mentioned. And I think the world is starting to find out more and more about it, which is a lot of the stuff that we're trying to push with our vision and mission of our company. So for someone watching this, why should they join Entrepreneur House?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're interested in joining the Entrepreneur House, it's probably because you're traveling like a digital nomad. You want to be around other successful, upbeat business owners, people who are inspiring to you, and you're just not able to find that when you travel. So if you're in Medellin especially, and as this thing grows in different countries, that's probably going to be the main reason why you're going to want to join. It's because you want to meet people like me, Amir, and the 60 other people that we currently have as part of the community.
100%. The community, it's a school community. People are active on there. There's a call every single week. I love the dinners and the events that are happening, and it's only going to keep growing. And I love, being seeing it from the outside and seeing the amount of time and effort this is Thomas's life right now. He doesn't do real estate. He doesn't do, the guy doesn't party. He's a 24-year-old living in Medellin. I mean, the guy's literally committed to building the most powerful community. And I think it takes the right leader with the right mindset, but most importantly, with the right intentions. Because if you don't have the right intentions, everything else that you're doing doesn't really matter. And that's why I'm a supportive of this. My friends are in this as well. And, we're not here to pitch you and, sell you on it. Genuinely, we just want the right people. So if you're not an entrepreneur, if you're not running a remote business and you're not doing at least $1 million, get there, figure it out.
We do have, so it's funny because your whole company is like working remote. And yes, the company I'm running is, we do some virtual stuff. We do have a call like once a month, etc. But it's all about in person because there is still a value. You want to have like an annual meeting with your team. There's something about the in person.
100%.
Right. So there's still, but when you have a remote team, everyone can fly in, and it doesn't disrupt their work because now they're already used to working remote. Right.
Correct.
So the focus is all the in person connections. And to anyone who's in Medellin, of course, if you're not doing $1 million, we are doing other events too. So
nice.
You're always welcome to come to those, meet great people, have a great time. And it's not like it is exclusive to seven figures, but I've been broke. Everyone who's been seven figures has been broke. So we always want to help people get to there too.
100%. And I connected Thomas recently with a good friend, Brian, who is like a YouTube ads god. So I'm like, anyone that's a business owner, I'm like, dude, here's my group that is just a lot of crazy shit going on, and nobody runs it, and it's just like you can ask questions and find out some stuff, or join that, and it's free, or also join what Thomas has and be connected to entrepreneurs and somebody that's, if you have a leader and someone that can organize and someone that can, put up with all the headaches and, dealing with all the shit that you have to do with when putting an event or a dinner, that's what what we pay for, and that's what we love being a part of. So Thomas, man, thank you so much for coming in. A lot of value on the community. I'm really excited for people to watch this. Come to Medellin, check out this beautiful city and network, because at the end of the day, the city, what brings you here is the weather, the cost, and the chicks. But what keeps you here is the community.
Yes.
100% of the time.
Sure.
And that's why Thomas is here. That's why I've been here. And I'm just excited for the community, of the future of the community, and, being able to expand this and connect with more amazing people.
Amazing. Well, Amir, thank you so much.
I love it. Thanks for coming in. Make America Remote Again, episode 2. Like, comment, subscribe, share. See you in the next episode.
Thank you.